Another very common set of questions that I get that I believe is very directly related to this is about beliefs and internal narratives. You know, people ask me all the time, how can I change what I believe about myself? And they also ask, how can I change the script in my head? Typically it's how do I shut down a particular narrative in my head? This seems to fit very well in thinking about structure of self, because as you pointed out, you know, the self or the structure of self includes the unconscious mind, you know, what's going on below the surface of the water in this iceberg model, what's going on in the conscious mind, that the conscious mind is protected by these defense mechanisms that grow up from the unconscious mind, from that comes a character structure, and then this thing that we call the self. Right. But when it comes to beliefs and internal narratives, those seem to me like things that people are pretty well aware of. In fact, the very example that people are asking me this all the time, how to change beliefs, internal narratives, means they are aware of them. It also suggests that for many people out there, their beliefs about themselves and their internal narratives are not healthy, or at least they don't feel are serving them well, or that they are intrusive. I don't know how open people are about their beliefs and internal narratives when they come to you in your clinical practice, but if you could tell us a little bit about beliefs and internal narratives and whether or not they are important to rewire and reset.
This part is extremely important, right? So imagine, for example, that I'm saying to myself over and over again that I'm a loser, right? Or I'm not good enough, right? I mean, imagine trying to go through life and someone else were saying that to you all the time, right? I mean, it's worse when it's inside your own head, right? So what's going on inside of us, our internal dialogue, our internal narratives are extremely important. And here's where we run into a very big problem, is that we live in an era and in a culture that is very attuned to rapid gratification, right? And all of this that we're talking about can change, but it does not change quickly. And it's amazing to me when, you know, you'll see under insurance paradigms often, right? No matter what's going on with someone, they can have 10 sessions of cognitive behavioral treatment, right? If there's something like we're trying to change beliefs, it's a guarantee of failure, right? Because beliefs don't change that fast, right? So imagine, for example, that you and I chose a word, a random word, and we decided to say it 500 times, right? We'd each be saying it tonight, right? Like, it's not going to be out of our minds by tonight, but because we took a random word and said it 500 times, right? So imagine that there's something that's highly emotionally laden, and we've said it thousands and thousands and thousands of times, right? That's not going to go away quickly, right? But it can go away. And during the process of it atrophying, right, our lives can get better, right? This is the opposite of hopeless, right? It's actually very, very encouraging. But in a world that's rapid gratification, right? Like, how do we fix this? How do we fix this now? That doesn't acknowledge this. We hear all the time that a person has failed therapy, right? Like, this is said all the time. That person failed it. What does failed therapy mean, right? I mean, I think therapy failed that person, right? But we label like, oh, a person isn't better, right? But there are things going on inside of us that could take months and months or years to make better. Now, again, that's okay if we're aware of what's going on. Just the very fact that we understand and we're making change, right, helps us feel better about ourselves and more confident, right? That we can change all of this, but we have to approach it in the right way. So let's say that I'm telling myself over and over again, you're not going to get there, right? And let's say a place I want to go professionally, right? Or no one's ever going to really want you, right? If I'm looking for a romantic partner, right? So imagine these things are going on, and they're going on over and over again. And you can imagine now that it's intruded into the unconscious mind, it's going on in my conscious mind, my defensive structure is shifting in negative ways, I'm becoming more avoidant. Like, nothing about this is good. And I want it to change. And I want it to change to something that says, like, you can do it, right? Or you're lovable, right? Or you can be a good partner to someone. So I want to change it, right? So imagine now, when I start to make that change, I'm blazing a path, right? And I'm blazing a path where there wasn't a path before, right? And I can blaze a path and I can go through that path, but that path is going to be nothing like maybe the 4-lane highway, right, adjacent to me, where the thing that I've been telling myself for years and years and years, born of trauma, right, is going back and forth, right? I mean, it's got a 4-lane highway, I'm cutting a path, right? But over time, you cut that path more and more, you tread that path more and more, you take energy towards that path, it becomes better. Now let's imagine like the path is well lit and it's 12 feet wide, and maybe we can pave the path so more traffic, so to speak, goes down it, and we're taking energy away from that 4-lane highway, and maybe it starts to be overgrown a little bit and there are cracks in the road. Like, we can change all of that, but we have to understand what's going on and identify it. Like, what is going on inside of me? What do I make of it, right? How do I understand the process of change? How do I increase my empowerment during the process of change? If we come at it the right way, all of this can be changed. It's not hardwired in us. It's just very, very strongly reinforced. The same way our brains are built this way. So like, we don't forget our own names, right? We don't forget where we live, back when we were hunting and gathering. We don't forget, where the good fruits are, right? I mean, this goes on in human life now. Like, we have to remember things. It's very, very important if something has high emotional valence and we've thought it a lot, that we don't forget it. But that mechanism gets hijacked by things that are not good for us, and we can take it back, but not if we don't understand.